Imagine being trapped in ice, or dancing barefoot into a brawl, or even sailing on a ship built just for the over 80 crowd. Well, welcome to this week's Wild Cruise News updates. From a CEO meltdown on Virgin Voyages to a Disney first with Mickey and Minnie. We've got the latest stories rocking the high seas. Buckle up because these updates will have you rethinking your next cruise. Ahoy, travelers! It's Amy here with your weekly Cruise News Roundup and my thoughts on some of the biggest stories of the week. A recent expedition cruise took a dramatic turn when the Hanseatic Spirit, operated by Hapag-Lloyd Cruises, got trapped in thick ice in the northern Baltic Sea's Bothnian Bay. This happened on March 30th. A sudden cold snap froze the area, stranding over 200 passengers and 175 crew members. The Finnish icebreaker Kontio came to the rescue, freeing the 15,650 gross ton ship, which is designed for icy conditions, but couldn't handle the nearly 10-foot deep ice. No one was harmed, and the ship continued its journey to Rama, Finland, before heading to Copenhagen. Now, this incident highlights the growing popularity and risks of expedition cruises to remote, icy destinations. Is an expedition cruise on your bucket list? Now, I'm not sure I'll ever be able to afford one, at least not while I'm still physically sound enough to actually enjoy all the activities. They say that you really need to be physically fit to go on an expedition cruise. It would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for sure, if you can afford it. Margaritaville at Sea is known for its short cruises. In fact, many consider them to be booze cruises. Well, the line is shaking things up with longer cruises on the Margaritaville Islander, and it's sailing out of Tampa, Florida. Announced on April 2nd, the new itineraries starting in 2027 range from 4 to 10 night sailings and includes the line's first ever overnight port stay in New Orleans. It's perfectly timed for Mardi Gras on February 9th of 2027. The Islander, a Spirit class ship, was purchased by the line in the fall of 2023 and underwent a significant refurbishment before launching last year. The new extended trips will also visit Key West, Mexico, and the Caribbean, offering more time to soak in the Jimmy Buffett vibes. So if you're a Jimmy Buffett fan, bookings are open now with a 50% fare discount and free kids fares if you snag a spot by April 30th of this year. Well, will this change make you consider Margaritaville at Sea for your next cruise? Honestly, I've never been interested in sailing on the line, but now I'm a little bit intrigued. Well, for many years, people have claimed that cruising is for old people. And while that is definitely not true, Meyer Werft, the German shipbuilding pros, just unveiled a new cruise ship concept called Serenity. It's built from the ground up for passengers over 80. This one-of-a-kind vessel is all about giving older adventurers a tailored sea experience. Forget cookie-cutter ships. This is a fresh take designed to meet the needs of a growing senior crowd that's craving those cruise vibes. While the line is not talking about developing a nursing home aboard a cruise ship, they instead are designing the ship to provide independent living home services and featuring amenities that we would see in an assisted living facility. So Tim Krug of Meyer Werft Concept Development says the population of America and Europe will have the same number of people 80 years and older in 2100 as there are currently people over 65 today. Quote, we derived a new target group from this, which we call 80 plus, and took a look at what needs and requirements such a target group would have. Put simply, today there are ships for young, middle-aged, and old, and in the future there will be a need for a subdivided older target group. Of course, this is just a concept from their design team, so it is unlikely we're going to see anything come of this. But do you think this is a design that would be something older cruisers would even want? If you were over 80, would you consider cruising on a ship designed just for that age group? Let me know. Disney Cruise Line just dropped a magical reveal for their biggest ship yet, the Disney Adventure. On April 3rd, they unveiled the stern sculpture featuring Captain Mickey and Minnie Mouse painting the ship's name in gold. The dynamic duo will hang out on an anchor at the back of the 208,000 gross ton vessel set to sail from Singapore starting in December 15th of this year. It's the first time Mickey and Minnie have starred together on a Disney ship's stern, adding some extra charm to this Asian-based adventure. Now, I'm actually surprised that this is the first for the line. You would think the iconic couple would have been the very first sculpture to grace a Disney ship. The tradition actually began with Goofy at the stern of Disney Magic in '98. Mickey did make an appearance on the Disney Dream in 2011 as his famous alter ego, Sorcerer Mickey. Now, I've complained about cruisers having their cruises canceled due to private charters, but this is a new wrinkle for me. Production shows are taking a hiatus for part of 2025, and it's all because of private charters. Norwegian Cruise Line announced on April 3rd that several sailings between April and August will be fully booked by private groups, meaning no dazzling Broadway-style performances during those trips. As part of our diverse cruise offerings, Norwegian Gem occasionally hosts charter sailings, and your cruise follows directly after one of these special events. As a result, our spectacular cast from our larger production show will not be on board, meaning these performances won't be available during your sailing. Now, many cruisers choose Norwegian because of their entertainment. I know seeing a Broadway-style show is one of my favorite things from my Norwegian cruise, or at least what set it apart from other lines. Now, $100 non-refundable onboard credit is being provided per stateroom, not guest, and guests will also receive a 10% future cruise discount that can be used on any published Norwegian Cruise Line sailing through December 31st of 2026. If you were booked on a sailing that no longer offered a large production show, how would you feel? Is the compensation enough? Would you look into rebooking for another date? Let me know. Well, some drama unfolded on Virgin Voyage's Resilient Lady when a barefoot dance floor spat turned violent. On March 31st, during a Caribbean cruise from San Juan, Kenneth DiGiorgio, CEO of First American Financial, allegedly choked another passenger in the ship's On the Rocks bar. It all started when his wife asked the man dancing shoeless to put his shoes on. This man fired back with insults, and DiGiorgio snapped, grabbing the guy's throat and threatening to kill him. It was all caught on camera. The captain confined DiGiorgio to his Lux Rockstar suite until the ship docked in San Juan on April 1st, where the FBI arrested him. He's now facing federal assault charges. In interviews conducted by the FBI, DiGiorgio's wife said that this man was dancing barefoot, and she told him, "Look, we are all grown-ups here. Can you put on your shoes?" She then said that he responded with vulgarities, which caused her husband's reaction. She also said she should not have told this man to put his shoes on and admitted he had not touched her. So this is just another example of where it would probably be best to let cruise staff handle issues like this. If you're on a cruise ship and see something that you believe goes against the cruise line's rules or policies, go speak to a crew member or ask to speak to someone from security. Would seeing someone dancing barefoot cause you to be that upset on a cruise, or is that just something that you would ignore and be like, well, doesn't affect me? Let me know. I hope everyone has had a good week. You may have noticed that I've decided to post a cruise news on Sunday evenings. That is what I originally did, and I'm going back to that as it gives me more leeway during the weekends to spend time with family. I also want to apologize for not having my 2 videos a week like I have had in the past. I let myself get out of the habit of working on videos during all that stress of trying to figure out my audio issues. I'm going to work on getting back into the swing of things, I promise. I still have several videos I have planned from my last cruise that I want to put out. I'm what you would call a procrastinating perfectionist. Anytime I'm not 100% sure how to go about something or do it to the level that I expect of myself, I end up putting it off and then putting it off some more. I also call it my Scarlett O'Hara syndrome. I won't think about that today. I'll think about it tomorrow. If you've seen the movie or read the books, you know what I'm talking about. I end up tomorrowing myself into a giant hole. I do this all the time. And then the thing doesn't really take that long that I put off and put off. I actually love doing this. I don't know why. I just keep putting it off. Well, we experienced a lot of flooding over the weekend. Thankfully, I didn't have anything I needed to do and nowhere I needed to go because I was trapped for most of the weekend. I live up on a hill and my road has a wet weather creek that crosses it no matter which direction I attempt to take to leave. As an introvert, I enjoyed being trapped and there being zero pressure to go anywhere. I read, made some sourdough loaves, and even watched some TV while working on my research for this video. I'm glad the rain occurred over the weekend because I would have had to do my best to get out prior to the creek rising so I could make it to work if it had been during the week. In those instances, I will pack up and head to my parents', or if the flooding's going to be really bad, I may even have to stay with my grandmother in town. If the floodwaters are high enough, even my parents are trapped, despite living on a secondary highway instead of on a county road like I do. We have a huge creek that gets flooded one direction and it will shut down the whole highway. And then the other direction, if you try to leave out, there is a low water dip that will also get flooded if the water is bad enough. And it does happen probably about once a year. Last weekend, I went to Branson and spent time with my parents and my oldest niece. We had a good time. I went to Silver City on Friday for a few hours with my parents. That was our first Silver City trip of the year. Then we picked up my niece for dinner. On Saturday, Mom, my niece, and I went to the Landing in Branson. If you've been to Branson, you probably know about the Landing. Did some clothes shopping for my niece. However, I had to leave early because my baby chicks had just started hatching. Here's a baby chick. Little baby. I ended up with 28 baby chicks. I do have one with a crippled foot that I may have to put down. Right now, I'm waiting to see if it's something that will work itself out or not. It's already gotten better. At first, he couldn't even really stand at all, but he's been hopping around on one foot for most of the time. So we'll see. I'm monitoring it. They are super cute. I just love them. They're so fluffy. I call them fluffy chicken nuggets. I just wish that they were friendlier. You would think having them in the house would mean that it would be easier to train them to like people, but I try every time I hatch out baby chicks or I get baby chicks, and it never works out for me. Maybe I don't have enough patience, but I've tried over and over to hand feed them treats. The first day or two, a couple of them will come over and try out the snacks, but that's about it. Now they all run and hide when I walk into the room. So they're in the room right next door. So if you heard any cheeping during the video, not now, obviously, but previously, they are the culprits. Well, are you ready for more information on cruising? Why not stick around and check out this video and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.